I have an idea what they might do next.
They have now brought a new danger that is not going to be stopped by the talisman.
What if
he's gone?
He has had more of a transformation.
Ooh. Today, Sterling and I are talking about the thrilling horror mystery show from Season 4, Episode 6, The Heart is a Lonely Hunter, so spoilers are ahead.
And we jump right into Jade and Boyd's plan and what they're going to do next.
We theorize about the dolls and potentially Roger coming back to life.
And what exactly is Sophia doing with Henry?
Quick shout out to our channel members. Thank you folks so much for supporting us. We truly couldn't do this without you, and we love you from the bottom of our hearts.
Now, let's get into the episode. This episode, Boyd, Jade, really, really interesting kind of dynamic between them, you know? Mm-hmm. And I get it. I feel like this has happened a few times. It's also happening with like Fatima, where there's this line between trusting somebody that, you know, is the type of person you want to give your trust to, but then also like healthy skepticism, you know, because people have trusted and they've been burned very much by that, you know, and this place does messed up things to people. So how do you give Jade your trust, especially since he learned this information from mushrooms? That was very interesting to me. But they finally, he did manage to prove himself. We saw the door. And while I don't think that this will necessarily go to plan, I do think I know the best way to approach this. And I do think I have an idea what they might do next.
Interesting.
Because
before you tell me, I just want to say, I did kind of think it was silly that we were so gung-ho on Jade taking the mushrooms to find answers, and then as soon as he comes out with answers, he's like, I don't know if I believe this. I did find that a little...
Well, the answer was... I think that Boyd was hoping for an answer that wouldn't put so many people at risk, you know? So they sure. Like the answer, he was hoping for like a Dorothy answer where they like find some ruby slippers and they put them on, they click them 3 times and say there's no place like home, and they all go back. And it's like, if you learn that from mushrooms and you tell me, even if people don't think it's the real thing, everybody will try it. Like, what's the harm?
Yeah. That makes more sense. Cause I was feeling, I'm like, cause there was like a line he says where he's like, how are we supposed to believe this? You were tripping on mushrooms. And I was just like, you were there for that.
That was the plan.
That was the plan. Okay. So now I want to know, how do we go about this? How do we do this?
So I wondered. So, you know, at this point, Jade is gung-ho about this. Boyd is tentative, but he's at least willing to listen. Mm-hmm. And I think, so they got to get bones, you know? This is going to make some... maybe they have to move the stone. Maybe they have to do some digging. Mm-hmm. I feel like this is going to make a decent amount of noise. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And we know that that's where they are, and that you can... they've implied that you can wake them up, and it's dangerous to wake them up. Now, I do think that came from Victor. Obviously, Victor is sometimes a little bit sus as an information source because...
Sure.
Who knows what, and I'm not saying this as like, I love Victor, but you know,
he's troubled.
He is
sweet Victor. We love him.
He is troubled. I think that they'll wake up the monsters. So I think the best way to do this would be to go in at night.
That's actually not a bad idea because the monsters are typically out by night. They're not in the caves. Right. So if you can go through Colony House at night without the monsters knowing or expecting, that makes a lot of sense.
Does leaving that door open break the seal and so the monsters can get in? Or do they have to do the scary thing of closing the door after the people go out? And they have to trust that like when they hear a certain knock on the other side, they have to hope that it is their people and not them. Like, what steps do you take in order to keep this safe? And I think that it is going to be intensive. I think it's going to involve some digging, moving heavy things, and so I think it will take time, and I think it will make enough noise that it will still attract the monsters, and there could be a very scary interaction that could cost a decent amount of lives. I think it's a risky undertaking, but I think it's less risky than going in during the day.
Sure. I do like that because there is that new tidbit of information that Jade brings up of why the monsters don't come out during the daytime is because they're protecting what is under there that could potentially what has potentially created Fromville. And so I like this aspect that there is this thing that happened that created Fromville, creates all these bad things that are happening, all revolves around these children. We don't really know what these monsters are. We know they made the deal to create this place. We know they come out at night. And it doesn't seem like they're not like vampires that get burned by daylight. Not that we know of, but we haven't really seen them in the daylight.
We haven't seen them in the daylight, yeah.
But we do know that they can wake up in the daytime. We've seen them in the caves during daytime, that they start stirring a little bit. And we have also seen them sleeping. So it is an interesting aspect that we need to go into the caves during the day, which could create a new level of danger that was unexpected before, because they are actively protecting something that could end this entire purgatory, hellish landscape. I like that idea.
Yeah. And unfortunately, if they do it next, if they implement that idea and they implement it next episode, I think regardless of how well they plan it, next episode's going to be bad.
Oh, yeah.
And I say that based off the title of the episode.
Oh, what's the title?
Best Laid Plans. Which the longer quote that comes from, the best laid plans of mice and men, what is it, oft go awry or something like that. It basically points out that, like, regardless of how well you plan things, shit's going to hit the fan somewhere. And I think that they are implying that episode 7, there's going to be a lot of shit on that fan.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm trying to, since we only have 4 episodes left, what is the direction that we're going to see things go in, right? Is it going to climax of them going into the tunnels? Is it going to climax around what happened with Jade?
There's so many directions right now.
Right. Like the town folk turning on Jade. Is there a climax related to the settlement and these dolls?
And the dolls.
Which
is it around the golem? Is it around the man in yellow?
There's
so many things
that could like end this season on, which could be phenomenal. Which brings me to one thought.
Okay.
I also think that episode 7 is going to be bad, but not necessarily for the same reasons you do.
Okay.
I think that with the intention of not leaving Roger's body behind, they have now brought a new danger to the town that is not going to be stopped by the talisman. Now, whether that be Roger coming back to life as a doll because he had the button eyes and the sewed mouth,
right? Yeah.
Or if he is a beacon for the other dolls to come here at night to find Fromville. So they talk about the tip of the spear is the creatures, and now we have this new threat that I think has been kept at bay at the settlement, and now I think they have unintentionally brought it to their doorstep, and that I think we are going to see either Roger coming back to life or these dolls, and they're going to wreak havoc because the talismans will not stop them.
And if Roger comes back to life, think about how much more dangerous this threat is. It can happen, regardless of if you've got the talismans. Mm-hmm. It can wreck the place that you are in, which then, like, even if you manage to kill it, then makes that space unsafe for the other monsters. But I think, honestly, the thing that makes them, maybe, if you are correct, more powerful is the fact that, like, when the monsters kill, they just reduce your population.
Yes.
But like the regular ones. But if you are right, then the dolls multiply. Mm-hmm. And that is dangerous.
And if Roger does come back to life as a doll and is able to replicate, then he, without them knowing that this is a potential, he could go break into Colony House and kill like 10 of them instantly, not instantly, maybe the next night, turning them into dolls themselves. That now we had one Roger that we were dealing with. Now we have 11 doll creatures that we have to deal with. There's no safe place with talismans. I think that this could be a really big part of what we're going to see in the next couple episodes. Maybe I'm wrong, but it's interesting.
I wondered about something very similar. Does Roger come back to life? But I also wondered about a way that they could really milk that terror and make it, get it to the point where, like, the anticipation is even worse rather than just immediately bringing him back. I did wonder, like, right now he's just under a tarp. They haven't had the time to bury him because there's just so many other things going on. What if the next day when they go to bury him,
he's gone? He
has had more of a transformation.
Ooh.
Maybe his, like, lower torso is now in, like, bag, like
sack,
ragdoll.
Like, sack.
Yeah. Yes.
Interesting.
And if that, and what would that imply? Because then that would, is that like a ticking bomb situation where it's like when he completely transforms, does he become one of those dolls? And now they brought one there. At least the other ones were far away.
Yeah.
But they've, like, potentially brought one, and now they know it. And the fear of that is, so I wondered whether or not they do something like that to, like, amp up the tension instead of going straight to, like, the kind of, like, the break-in and the kill.
I do feel like Roger has to do something, and maybe I'm speculating wildly, but the fact that they didn't leave his body, they showed that his body had been changed, because that has not looked like the way he was killed at all. So there was clearly a change to his body. And not only did we just show him once to be like, oh, hey, remember, this is what happened to Roger. We got to be wary. We saw him again where Jade is like, what is going on? And so I do think that we have not seen the last of Roger and potentially the consequences of what happened to him out at the settlement.
And I think that another part of the strength of Roger is, like, the horror of the knowledge. They are trying to keep that away from other people because but potentially that was too much for Donna, and that's, like, what caused her heart attack. Like, she just can't deal with the fact that there can be so much more. And then it's like, well, what's next? If this just keeps happening and there's more and more nightmares, what's next? And I think it's going to be tough for them to keep a lid on this, because I feel like there was a moment, I don't remember exactly what it was, who it was. Maybe it was like Ethan. Somebody was like talking out loud about some things that happened in Colony House. And like there's too many people that know, and not everybody is like whispering away. And this stuff is going to start getting out. And I think that is very dangerous. Like you remember in, I don't remember if it was season 2 or 3, with the music box monster, when people couldn't go to sleep, just the fear that was building around what would happen, because this was happening in their places that were supposed to be safe. And now not only are the places not safe, but the thing you have to do every day for 8 hours a day, now you can't do that. Like you can't not sleep.
No. And with these dolls that could potentially come there, it's another form of potentially losing sleep, because if they can break into the houses, we're back to square one, that you have to figure out where to hide, how to get out of it, in the constraints of knowing that you have the other monsters to worry about. And one more piece to my theory of why I believe we're going to see more dolls coming to life, more dolls wanting to kill people. They also brought the weapons that killed the dolls.
Right.
And they made a point to talk about bringing the weapons that were able to kill these dolls just in case. And that makes me believe you're not going to point these weapons out and bringing them if you ain't going to use them. They're going to be used on something, whether it be Smiley or the dolls. We're going to see them use these weapons on these creatures of some sort. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a Chekhov's totem.
Chekhov's totem, yes.
Yeah, was that what they were, the totems? I don't remember exactly what they called them. But
I think they were I think they called them totems. I think a couple characters have called them different things, but
you know what? If I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure I'll be corrected in the comments. So just let me know what they're called if I'm wrong.
Everybody in the comments, do me a favor, correct Sterling. He needs it. Don't correct me. I'm never wrong. But correct him. He's always wrong.
In my defense, which I know that nobody in the comments care about, like I do have ADHD. Like I try so hard to keep all of this stuff in my head, but it just, like, I don't have the hair to keep the information in my brain, so it just leaks directly out of the pores, and before you know it, it's gone. I don't know how I remember how to walk.
But I don't know how you do anything. I'm the same way. I have a bunch of things. I have hair, so the information is not leaking out of that way. But what happens is I'm taking in so much information as a student and work it all piles up. It gets in there, and then sometimes it pushes the good stuff, the from stuff out, and and I'm a dummy. I'm just gonna say it now. I'm also a dummy, and that'll happen.
So going back to Roger and being sewn up, and then immediately pivoting from that to what that kind of reminded me of. Speaking of people that have been sewn up, that's my brilliant segue, is to bring up something that we weren't talking about for a moment, only so I could segue away from it.
Your segue was perfect until you had to explain the segue, and then you crashed it. You were doing great, and then you explained the segue, and then it's off the rails. All right, continue.
It really cracked me up when Randall and Elgin were together, and I don't think it was supposed to be funny at all, because it's touching. They've both been through hell. But when Randall said something about, like, I don't remember what exactly it was, aren't we a handsome pair? He didn't say that, but it was basically he basically pointed out the fact that, like, they're both ugly and misfigured, deformed. But like you've pointed out, and I agree, honestly, Randall looks better. Is he like he looks badass, you know? Like how is it that he gets scarred and he still looks like such a cool guy? And then so for him to make that comment to Elgin, I'm sure that Elgin legitimately looks disfigured, and yes. I'm not trying to make fun of him. I'm not trying to make fun of him. He looks worse. Laughing. It's very unfortunate. But so it's like that's like the hot person having a zit that nobody can see, and then saying to like the pimply kid, like, aren't we just uggos? You know, yeah. like no, nobody can see your zit. You still look hot. And you're just making me feel worse about myself.
I know. Randall, he's going to heal up that scar. Stitches will come out and he'll just have like a scar going up his face. Man. Elgin lost an eyeball. Oh. He is one and it's like, eyeball and it's like short. Droopy.
It's like yes. I'm not trying to make fun of him. It was the fact that like Randall has really turned a corner, and he's trying, and he's trying to be a good person.
Yes.
And I think he was like really trying to, and I think for Elgin it did land, but for me as a viewer, I was like, if I was in Elgin's spot, I would be, I'd feel
one worse. Of these is not like the other. I did think that was quite funny as well, because Randall is fine, or he will be fine, and Elgin is clearly missing an eye. I am curious, as I had noticed that, there was a thought that popped into my head, and I wasn't sure if this is something that we might see later, potentially setting up a clue for like somebody that might be in a similar boat as those two, potentially the bus driver. But when I saw Randall and Elgin, it gave me... It created an iconography in me of the monkeys of the hear no evil, speak no evil, see no evil.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So Randall, his mouth is clearly messed up. So that's the speak no evil. Elgin with the eye is the see no evil. Is there somebody that might potentially go deaf, lose an ear as the hear no evil? We know Fromville is all about evil. But I'm just speculating wildly because I just thought about it.
So the people in the comments are going to roast me again because I already didn't know her name before, and I got corrected, and I've already forgotten again. Burn victims name?
Patty.
Because
I'm not going to let them come at me again. Try. I know.
I try. I really do. She maybe she burned her ear. I couldn't see how much of her.
It does look like Mary Ellen.
Was it just this portion? It wasn't.
Yeah, it didn't look like it went up here. It was just more down here.
Yeah,
which could also be a speak no evil. But yeah, I don't know. It just came into my mind of like the iconography of speak no. It just especially with this place being so evil, hear no evil, speak no evil, see no evil. I just thought could be an interesting little thing that if some people in Fromville get disfigured, it might be those, and it might not even be like a huge thing like, oh, this is a secret to solving Fromville, but just a nice little touch the creators put in just to be like, if you see it, you see it. If you don't, no big deal.
Yeah.
At least that's the headcanon I want to live in.
No, I can definitely see that. What do you think we're going to have happen with Fatima and her golem?
I don't know. I was very surprised by Ellis's reaction because it did seem like Kenny and Boyd were worried at first, and then they both were on board and thinking, all right, this is potentially a good thing for Fatima. It's potentially, if it could come alive and have a protector, it may be beneficial. And Ellis, who has known that Fatima has been going through this and has been wanting to do things to help relieve that stress that came from birthing Smiley, it does seem that I was a little, and especially because it was done. It's not like she was working on it and it was creating all this effort. It did seem that.
I don't know if it's done yet. I think it might.
I mean, it could probably have more, but it had more of a shape. There was definitely a face to it at this point. Yeah. And so I was surprised that Ellis wasn't as on her side about it. Like he was, and he wasn't against it either. He was taking a lot to process it. And I guess I've just always seen Ellis as he's always been in Fatima's corner and always supporting her. And so that was surprising to me.
Yeah. I think when we first kind of learned about this, I think I was of the idea that Fromville turns everything into something kind of bad. And so my initial gut reaction was, this is just going to be another thing that is turned bad. But now I think that we are in for something worse. Like I'm not saying we haven't had anything terrible, but I think that we have had much worse things happen in other seasons. So I do think we are due for something truly terrible. But I also think that we're due for a win because there haven't been a lot. And so I think that we could get something that is very terrible. And I simultaneously think that Fatima's golem could be the one win that they get that certainly doesn't make up for the horrible thing, but is at least like, you got to get something.
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see the golem being the champion against the dolls. Say the dolls come to life, they can't beat them. It creates this new sense of terror. There's no way we're going to survive these dolls. I could see the golem coming to life and being the champion of the Fromville people to stop the dolls. Because I don't think the golem is going to stop the man in yellow. I don't think the golem is going to stop the other things in the tunnels. So I believe the golem will stop the dolls or Roger. That's my thought where the golem's going. I think that from this episode, I don't think Donna's going to die at all. I think there's been too many fake outs of her death that her dying at this point would feel cheap. But I do think somebody else we know might die. And I think...
does it start with a hen and end with a re?
Yes. I think Henry's the next to go. And so, first off, my heart was wrenched for Henry this episode because especially last episode, we saw him dealing with the ramifications of what the man in yellow did to his wife. And knowing that he was just drinking with the entity that created so much pain for him, and just having a grand old time. My heart was out for Henry. I could see potentially her putting her blood into Henry's drink. I think might create the illusion that might turn Henry evil, like what happened to Sarah, where he hears voices, he has to do something. But I think it's even worse than that. I think her putting in that blood might be able to control him, or has put in such a negative thought that I think Henry might try to take his own life. And we saw with Victor standing on the roof talking about the guy that jumped and died that slow death. And now Henry getting that blood, I could see him attempting to take his life or succeeding in taking his life, which would also devastate Victor. Like, Victor's already on a short rope of his mental well-being. And I could see that something happening to Henry after just getting Henry could push Victor over that edge. And so I think that the blood in the drink is going to make Henry try to kill himself. That's my thought. I don't know if that's true. I couldn't imagine what else would be the point of putting the blood in there. I don't think that if you're having an agent of chaos, right? Like if the man in yellow, Sophia, is trying to control Henry, we already saw that she has so much control over Sarah that why would she need to control Henry too? And what could she get out of controlling him? So I think that she wants Henry to die.
I think Sarah is the equivalent of a pig farmer.
Okay.
Hear me out on this.
Sure.
Give me a minute.
Just give me a second. Okay.
She is trying to, like, she's raising a product, and she's trying to fatten it up.
Oh, you mean
for
Sophia?
Consumption. You want what did I say?
You said Sarah. Which again, folks, you got to cut him credit. He's an ADHD boy. He's got things. They just talked about Sarah. They both start with the same letter. They both are females. It's basically the same person. That's not true. Sophia. Thank you. Sophia. So you were like, I was like,
where are you going with this?
I was like,
yeah, that's why I told you to give me a minute. Was because we needed to correct me, so it made sense.
Sure. Okay.
Sophia is a kind of like a pig farmer, and she sells juicy meats,
Okay.
And in order to make these big honkin' cuts of tasty meats, you first gotta fatten them up.
Mm-hmm.
But in this case, the tasty meat is abject terror or some other type of motion along those lines.
Okay.
And so she is growing that in all the people. She is growing that fear so that she can so that she gets that juicy product until right when they're at that point.
Uh-huh.
And I think that whether or not, like, the blood could be to, like, make him more easy to influence, or I think it's maybe kind of like a mark as far as, like, he's the next one. And so I think that she's going to give him the extra attention of, like, truly, like, fattening up his horror, or giving up on things, or something along those lines, where she is, like, really trying to, like, grow this terrible negative emotion until it's almost too big for survival. Kind of like with like when you make, like, foie gras and you, like, force the ducks to, like, eat obscene amounts that the like liver grows, like, 3 times its size in this, like, insanely short amount of time. I think that's potentially what she's doing.
That could make a lot of sense. I could definitely see that happening, because I feel like there could be a way, especially with Henry, and he even told her straight out that this man in yellow ate my wife, basically. And so, like, I feel like she could create more terror with knowing that information. And so I'm not exactly sure how the blood would factor into that, unless she's just trying. Maybe it gives him.
So the 2 parts I said with that is, like, one is, like, maybe that makes him a little easier to influence,
Right.
And then the second potentially is, and very different, is that it's a way to kind of, like, mark him as next, like he's the one that I'm working on.
Yeah.
Maybe even lets, like, the monsters know to, like, leave him alone. If let's say that, like, the dolls break into Colony House and the monsters are able to come in, like, maybe that's a way of saying, like, he's mine. Dibs.
Yeah.
That
could be. Ooh, that could be interesting.
Dibs.
Save him for me. He's a juicy one, alright.
I'm fattening him up for a feast.
Yum, 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 yum.
Along with the Chianti, you know?
Yeah. I definitely could see that.
In the book, it wasn't Chianti. I think it was Amarone, because Chianti is not the right wine to have with that. But I don't know if it was like the director or maybe like the producers thought that audiences were too dumb to understand what Amarone was. So they changed it to be recognizable, even though he is a very refined cannibal. And he would not pair that with Chianti. He would know that the correct answer is Amarone. And so, yeah, so the movie was changed. And so my response, I also wouldn't have the man in yellow eat the liver with the Chianti.
Right.
I just want to make that clear.
And my name's Sterling. I know all the things about wine. Look at me.
And that's to indicate that I'm a snob. I'm also a pig farmer, like not Sarah, but Sophia.
Right. You are a pig farmer.
To make sure that people.
This is me. I'm Sterling's pig. I don't know why I'm British, but I don't know why I'm terribly British. I'm sorry, any Brits, if I offended you.
Yeah, like offensively British. Yes. Yes.
My final thought is potentially how this show could end satisfactory.
Okay.
In a satisfying way. And
yeah.
One way is satisfying, but not what we'd want.
So you have multiple endings, you're saying?
Well, kind of. Like, I think there.
Do you think that this is the potential ending, or are we pitching this to the writers because we think that you've got a banger and you want to help them end it well?
Well, I maybe a little bit of both. Both. Because I do think I'm
sure, with our under 2K subs that we'll definitely have the reach to get to the writers. So
yes,
this is to you.
This is for you guys. Writers and if this is how it ends, I take credit. So you're welcome.
Just
basically,
all we need is a line.
Yes, just
in the credits. That's it.
Thank you. Road goes ever on and on. Boom. There you go. So I think ultimately we love these characters. We want to see some of them make it out.
Yeah.
But as some people have pointed out in the comments, that there is no escape. They're not getting out of this. It's not possible. Like, everybody is pretty much doomed. And so I think one satisfying ending would be they figure it out. They beat the man in yellow. They're free. They beat whatever demon crazy machinations. Somehow just normal, regular people beat it. Potentially. But if they don't, there's something that was in this episode that gave me an ending in my brain.
Okay.
And specifically, it was the moment when Ethan and Victor were coloring.
Okay.
And here is my sad, scary prediction that if the man in yellow is successful, everything goes the way that it's been going and the cycle perpetuates itself, the show From is going to end with Ethan being the only survivor in Fromville. And I could see it just being like this continuous loop, right? And so to me, a satisfying ending, not soulfully satisfying, but like something that would make sense to the story, is the man in yellow is successful, the townspeople turn on each other, everybody starts killing each other. We keep seeing this being talked about, like Father Khatri was like, you're losing the grip on these people. Things are coming. It's going to get bad. And I could see, just like Victor was the only one left alone, Ethan is set up to be that Victor. Like, he has the drawings, he starts drawing, it's too painful to remember, and that is essentially the whole cycle starts over. Ethan is the equivalent to Victor, who grows up in Fromville, and if they ever wanted to make a From sequel season or whatever, it could be an adult Ethan.
And that would be called 2.
Yeah.
As in T-O, not the number
TW.
2.
Yeah.
So like from 2.
Yeah. Exactly.
You know, you come from, you go to. So
that is a great idea.
Sequel. That's my pitch to the writers. The sequel of From is called 2.
Yes. I love that. But those are the 2 ways that I could see this ending and it being fulfilling. Even though it's not the ending I want.
Yeah.
It could be an ending that makes sense.
I feel like people are going to want the cycle to end rather than the sad idea that it just keeps going and everybody that we love died. So I feel like something that I could see happen is the cycle is broken, but little to nobody makes it out. So it is technically a victory, but it's not one that really can be celebrated.
Right. Only a handful of people. Yeah.
Or even nobody. Like it's possible that, you know, that nobody makes it out, but
the cycle is over.
But the cycle is over and it prevents the horror from happening to other people.
Yeah, I could see that. Either way, I do think the showrunners have a very challenging job ahead of them in ending the show because it is so abnormal. It's not. It deals with a lot of supernatural. There's supernatural elements that are not like fantasy, like fantastical. So like there has to be a way to end it. But I just don't even know how you would.